CBS, they ranked their top head coaches in the NFL, and they did all 32 as well. I thought it was an interesting list where they had Dan Campbell, fellas. I talked to Klotz on the phone a little bit, and I was like, bro, fellows disrespectful. I think they disrespected Dan Campbell. So let's go through it here real quick, fellas. How do I get this ad off the screen here? All right, there we go. Andy Reid. All right, let's go through it. Number 1, Andy Reid, Kansas City Chiefs. Anyone? Good.
Scroll down. It's good.
Yeah, keep it moving.
Sean McVay at 2. I think that's perfectly fine. I think Kyle Shanahan at 3 is perfectly fine as well.
Lord, let me see LaFleur after this one. Thank God. Thank God.
John Harbaugh.
Yeah, that's fine. Keep it moving.
I'm going to be a dog with you here real quick. All right? Before I go to number 5. Before we go to number 5.
It's going to be LaFleur.
I want you to know this.
LaFleur at 5.
I want you to know this, Klotzy. Me and LaFleur, we got a degree from the same university.
Yeah.
This man has no reason to be the 5th best coach in the NFL.
There's no reason. Okay.
I'm sticking for Matt LaFleur until I die as an SVSU grad with him. He has 0 reason to be 5th in the NFL. There are so many more. Give Zach Taylor, like there are coaches where I'm taking before him. Like Matt LaFleur, look, you see right here, playoffs 3 and 4
with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams and company. Bro got outscored by the 49ers special teams unit at home.
Put him 8. Put him 9.
Fucking terrible, dude.
He's not even the best coach in the NFC North. Dan Campbell is.
Bruno, I'm glad we could break bread there. I thought you were about to hype up Matt LaFleur being top 5 because I could tell by your reaction he's going to be there. But this is just disgusting. Like, I know that I dog on Matt LaFleur a lot, but I don't think he's a bad coach by any means. I think he's a good coach in the NFL. It's a very good coach. But these are the exact reasons why I put Matt LaFraud in front of, like, as his last name all the time. Because people act like he's the second coming of Kyle Shanahan, and he's proven to be nowhere close to it. He's proven to be a very good coach in the NFL, but he's nowhere, in my opinion, close to proving himself as an elite coach yet. Like, I'm sorry, he just hasn't.
Yeah, I don't hate him as much as Lucas does, or whatever he just said, but you get it. And I still think he's a great coach, but I mean, I don't think he's top 5. I still think there's probably a few people that you can put in front of him. But I still think he's good, but he's probably more into that later top 10 or just right outside.
I stick up for Matt LaFleur, like, till the day I die. SVSU grad, like, I'll stick up for him.
Like
I
8,
think
9.
Even if he didn't go to SVSU, I think he's a good coach. But at 5, like, I'm taking Dan Campbell over him every day. There's no reason. The next guy, the fact that he's ranked over Mike Tomlin, like, that's crazy.
It's actually
honestly, keep going, Boone, because I'll see where he ends up on this list. But
this is another interesting one. Jim Harbaugh already at number 7.
Jim Harbaugh's proven.
You guys are torn on this one. You're torn on this one.
He's in this top 10 no matter what. If you think otherwise, you just
maybe the top 10, but 7, like the next one here, and this is where we'll get going here.
I think 7's fair, to be honest.
Dan Campbell 8, and the reason I say, like, I'm taking Dan Campbell over Jim Harbaugh. I'm taking Dan Campbell over Matt LaFleur, and call me crazy. I don't care who you guys think I am. I'm taking Dan Campbell over John Harbaugh. I'm the only guys I'm not taking Dan Campbell over in today's NFL is the Kyle Shanahan, the Sean McVay, Andy Reid. Like, those are the only guys probably where I'm like, yeah, I'm not changing coach. Like, no, I want Dan Campbell over all of these guys. Over Mike Tomlin, I love Mike Tomlin. I stick up for Mike Tomlin every single day. That man's never had a losing season in his career. Right now, though, today's NFL, give me Dan Campbell. I don't think that's crazy. I put Dan Campbell at 4 or 5 here. I think he should be top 5 after what he just did last year. He should be top 5. There's no reason he shouldn't be.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm with you, especially coming off the NFC Championship game, where it was his first appearance there. And I know he blew a 17-point lead, but the fact that he was in that situation with this organization, if you take this top 10 list, I don't even think Kyle Shanahan is. I understand that Kyle Shanahan schematically is a better play caller. I'm not going to take that away from him. But as far as what Dan Campbell has done with this organization, I don't know if there's any coach that can do what Dan Campbell has done in Detroit so far, especially when you talk about since year 1.
Yeah. I think a lot of people look at like the fourth down and the mistakes that he's made, and they like he is 8th, which is like I think a big honor at. I mean, is that the 8th head coach in the NFL is big time, but I do think like the hit on him is the fourth downs. You know, some of the decisions he makes.
That comes with it though. Like he's changing the game. He really is. We talk about it all the time. Like there's more coaches around the NFL that are going to that style and have adapted to that style. People would be going for it a good amount on fourth down, but with Dan Campbell, it's been to a different level. And I think when you look back at it in 4 or 5 years, I think teams are going to be going for it a lot more. And it's to Dan Campbell, and he's going to figure it out. Like he's trying something new. And I think there's a point where he's not going to perfect it because you can't perfect anything in the NFL. But it becomes a consistent thing where teams start copying what he's doing, and it really changes the way that the game's played.
What about this comment? If DC was top 5, you would have finished the game against the Niners.
Yeah, and if you didn't have Kendall Vildor back there bouncing a ball off his face mask, I think Dan Campbell looks a lot better as a head coach when he's in the Super Bowl. I think Dan Campbell, now there's a legitimate defense, I think there's going to be a lot more respect on his name, and people forget about it too. Like putting him at 8, I don't hate it, but this is again is discounting I think the offensive mind that he is, because Ben Johnson, great play caller, he's developing a lot of those plays, but this is still Dan Campbell's playbook.
I'm pretty sure one of the coaches came out and said that. Was like, it might have been Tanner Engstrand that came out and was like, listen, like, yeah, Ben is Ben Johnson, but let's not forget what Dan Campbell is offensively. Like when Ben Johnson took over in that half a year, Dan was like, all of these plays and concepts, a lot of them are Dan, and they have to get approved through Dan. And a lot of the things that they run are Dan's plays. Like Dan has built this offense with Ben. Ben's the one obviously calling them, and Ben does have different plays and schemes that he draws up, but it's been very publicly known that Dan Campbell has been a big part of helping Ben Johnson kind of become who he is, and still has like a massive footprint on this offense. So I like, they just look at, people say it all the time, they just look at him like a meathead, but that dude actually knows ball way better than a lot of people think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, keep going, Boone.
Yeah, who's the end of the list?
Yeah, I want to see if somebody else is there.
So all right, before anyone goes, wow. I will address this. I will address this. Let me address this.
That's why I didn't want to scroll up.
No, let me address this. This man has no business being in the top 15. He's not going to have a job at the end of the year. He has no business being there. Klotz, we don't have to talk about
the division, Boo.
We don't know. Bro. They are. We don't have to talk about it. Let's move on. Let's move on. This is terrible too. This man shouldn't even have a
show. I'm leaving the show.
Shouldn't even have a Coach of the Year award from last year. I think this is whoever made this list is bad.